Today on Sugar Spun Run, we'll be making coconut shrimp. Hey Sugar Spun bakers, Sam here, and today I have another carefully tested, well-researched, and perfected recipe. This one yields crisp, perfectly flavored, and perfectly breaded coconut shrimp. It's better than anything you can get in the restaurant. I think you're going to absolutely love it, so let's go ahead and get started. Now, one of the things that I struggled with when I first started developing this recipe was that the coconut and the panko breading that I was using didn't adhere fully to the shrimp. We were having gaps and bald spots in the shrimp, and I just didn't love that. So I took a page from my mozzarella sticks and I decided that I would blend together the coconut and the panko to make a nice finer breading. So that is where we're going to start today. We're going to break down this coconut so it's not quite so large and stringy. We have 1.5 cups of sweetened shredded coconut. Yes, I do use the sweetened coconut. And we have 3/4 cup of plain panko. Now we're going to combine these, pop our lid on, and we are going to blend this until that coconut is no longer quite so stringy. You don't want to have a dust, but you do want to break things up a bit. Just gonna pulse it several times. Okay, so that was 15 1-second pulses. Let's take a look. It smells good, it smells nice and tropical. The coconut's still a little bit more than I'd like it to be. So let's do another 5 pulses. All right, I'm happy with how this looks, so I'm going to go ahead and pour this into a bowl. Always watch out for that blade. All right, so we have our coconut mixture. We'll set that aside. And in a separate dish, we are going to whisk together 2 large eggs. Now we're going to beat up these eggs so the yolks are nicely broken up and we have some scrambled eggs. And in yet another bowl, we are going to stir together 2/3 cup of all-purpose flour, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, this is just table salt, 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, and for just a little bit of heat, I'm going to add an 1/8 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Stir this together. And now we need to talk about our shrimp. We are going to be using extra large shrimp for today's recipe. Now my recipe calls for 2 pounds. We've made enough breading for 2 pounds, but I'm just going to be starting with 1 pound for now. These are thawed shrimp. You can see that the tails are on, but that they have been peeled and deveined. Now we're going to gently pat the shrimp just to dry them off a bit. And we'll sprinkle them all over with a bit of kosher salt. I'm gonna flip them off this paper towel. We'll do another light sprinkle. All right, now the dredging begins. This can get a little bit messy, so I like to set up a station here. I've got my panko breadcrumbs, I've got my panko and my coconut, I've got my egg, and I have my flour mixture. Rearrange those so you can see them better. Got my paper towel underneath to catch any spills. All right, we'll take our shrimp, hold it by the tail, and we are going to dredge this all over in our flour mixture. Try to keep the tail neat. You don't want to get flour and batter all over that. That's how you're going to be holding it when you eat it. So we'll try to keep that neat, but otherwise get the shrimp all coated in flour. Next, we'll take it over to our egg. We're going to dip it in the egg, make sure it's completely coated in the egg, and let the excess drip off. Help it out a little bit there. Finally, take it over to your coconut mixture. I'm going to use my hands to help get this to adhere. And again, the nice thing about my coconut shrimp is that you should have a nice even coating all over. The shrimp should be entirely coated in coconut and panko. So once yours looks like this, you can return it to your baking sheet. And just repeat with the rest of your shrimp. Now, one thing you do want to watch out for while you're breading the shrimp, after you dip it in the egg, give it a double look. Sometimes it'll drip off that flour and you'll see some dry spots of flour. Just go ahead and dip it again because you want that whole shrimp to be coated with that egg wash before you take it over the panko, or else you're going to have bald spots. So once you've breaded all of your shrimp, you're going to go ahead and place these in the refrigerator while you start heating your oil. Now let's head over to the stovetop where we're going to start heating our oil to cook these shrimp. You're going to need a large, heavy bottomed pot. I like to use a Dutch oven, and we're going to fill this about 2 to 3 inches deep with vegetable oil. You could use a smaller pot, but you just can't cook as many shrimp at the same time if you do that. Now you're going to need a thermometer, and we're going to fit this to the side. Make sure the bottom of your thermometer is not touching the bottom of the pot. And we're going to turn our stovetop heat to medium, and we're going to heat this oil to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. So while the oil is heating up, I like to prepare my dipping sauce. This is not a super homemade sauce, definitely not from scratch, but it is nice and easy and it complements the shrimp really well. If you want to make this, you're going to need 1/3 cup of sweet chili sauce and 3 tablespoons of apricot preserves. Can't wait for somebody to tell me I'm saying apricot wrong. Now, the preserves are usually a little bit too thick to mix in easily to the chili sauce. So what I'm going to do is I'm just gonna pop it in the microwave in 10-second intervals. So here it is after about 20 seconds in the microwave. It's nice and smooth and easy to stir. So now I'm just gonna add this in with the chili sauce and stir these together until they're nice and well combined for a simple, not quite homemade, but still delicious, sweet and tangy sauce. If you like a lot of dipping sauce, go ahead and double this. It's totally fine. All right, once your oil is at 375 degrees, grab your shrimp from the fridge, and we're going to cook them in batches of about 3 at a time. Now we're going to carefully lower them into the oil. I'm just going to use tongs and hold them by the tail and lower them in. And we're going to cook them until they're nice and golden brown in color. This isn't going to take very long. This is about 30 seconds and mine are a nice deep golden brown color. Now I'm going to remove them with a spider. I'm going to transfer them to a paper towel lined plate, and then I'll repeat with another batch of shrimp. However, I want to note that it's super important that you monitor your oil temperature. It needs to stay at 375. Sometimes it drops between batches. If it drops, just let it get back to temperature. Now, once I feel that I have a good handle on my oil temperature and how long things are taking, and if my pot is large enough, I may cook more shrimp at a time, like maybe 4 or 5 at a time. It can be hard to see them because of all the bubbles that form, so I'll just gently turn them as they're cooking because I want to keep an eye on them. I don't want them to overcook. Once again, that was only about 30 seconds. Just repeat until all of your shrimp have been cooked. You're going to want to serve these immediately while they're still warm. You don't want to burn yourself, but you still want them to be nice and hot, and serve them with your not so homemade dipping sauce. And that is how easy it is to make my favorite coconut shrimp. I really think you guys are going to love this recipe. And if you try it out, please leave me a comment and let me know what you think. Ouch, that's hot. I really love hearing from you. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. That was good.